So on question 8, we had just about finished finding the length of the diagonal for the 12 by 16 rectangle. We had written down d squared equals 400. And then we figured out that d has to be 20 feet. So the diagonal is 20 feet long. For number 11, draw a 10 by 20 foot rectangle and find the length of the diagonal. So now you can practice repeating that process. You're going to take the length squared plus the width squared, and once you get that answer, you can simply take the square root of that number. Let's see how I worked this one out. I didn't do this formula way. I just wrote the Pythagorean theorem. 10 squared is 100, 20 squared is 400, so that adds up to 500, and then I took the square root of 500, and I got 22.36 feet for my diagonal. Now, if you look at a tape measure, you're not going to be able to measure out 0.36 feet. So my next question is, how do you convert 0.36 feet to feet and inches? Well, it's going to be 22 feet and something inches. 0.36 feet is about a third of a foot. A third is 0.33, so this is really close to a third of a foot. So watch my reasoning here. If 1 foot is 12 inches, then 0.36 feet would be 0.36 times 12. And on my calculator, I get 4.32 if I do this multiplication. So I can just say that this is approximately 22 feet and 4 inches. Now, if I really needed to be more accurate, I could keep going down into eighths or sixteenths of an inch. But I figured maybe I might lose you, so I'll just leave it there. 22 feet 4 inches is about where you should be with the diagonals of that rectangle. And don't forget, once you measure this diagonal, you need to also measure the other diagonal and see if they are the same exact distance. Down here, we're going to go over some vocabulary about circles. The perimeter of the circle is the distance around the circle. That's called the circumference. The diameter is twice as long as the radius. So the radius goes from the center to the outside, and the diameter goes all the way across the circle. And then, do you remember either of these formulas? They involve pi. Pi radius squared. Pi times radius squared is the formula for the area of the circle, and 2 times pi times the radius is the circumference of the circle. Now, just as a reminder, pi is about 3.14159263, that's all I've got, but it goes forever, so you can use the pi button on your calculator. Or you can just use 3.14, and that will usually be close enough.